So the first place that the aliens attack in this movie is in Yigo, Guam. It's actually Anderson Air Force Base. But what happens? It is the only time in the movie, I'm pretty sure anyway, the pixels that come down and get and attack on them, they are black cubes, and I'll show you that in a second. But it's just super, super interesting that it's a black cube, and the Saturn and the New Jerusalem. Let's just pull it up here. So you have like New Jerusalem. You type it in, you get pictures of the cube. There's a ton of people talking about the cube and Saturn and whatnot. I mean, all you got to do is just type that in, and I'm sure you can find tons and tons of stuff if you want to know more about it. But anyway, here's the black cube, and that they get attacked by all these black cubes, and it's in Anderson Air Force Base in Guam. And I guess the reason I find that so interesting is because of the coordinates of Anderson Air Force Base. It's on 133434 north, 144 5528 east. So 13 north, 144 east. 144, super significant number. We've talked about it tons and tons of times. There's even 144 days left until the end of the year on 8/9. And this year the Queen will be 89 years old. And so 8/9 would be like 89. The 12 times 12 is 144. The word 44 equals 144 if you add it up. April 4th, if you add it up, it equals 144. Kind of like 44, 44, whatever. Also, I learned that if you add up the first 144 digits in pi after the decimal, it adds up to 666. Even Yigo, Guam adds up to 44 and 98. And 98, just talked about that with Tom Brady. There's also a ton of 98 connections to Philadelphia, where the Pope is going to be on his trip to America. So interesting. But I guess the moral of the story here, let me find it, is that if you read about New Jerusalem, it says, basically in the book of Ezekiel, New Jerusalem is Ezekiel's prophetic vision of a city centered on the rebuilt Holy Temple, the third temple to be established in Jerusalem. That will be the capital of the Messianic kingdom, the meeting place of the 12 tribes of Israel, so 12 and 12, 144, and the world's nations during the Messianic era. The prophecy is recorded by Ezekiel as having been received on Yom Kippur of the year 3372 on the Hebrew calendar. And that's actually would be 2,404 years ago. So it would have been like 389 BC, I believe. But what's interesting about that, so Yom Kippur actually falls on September 23rd this year. So pretty interesting. And also the New Jerusalem in the Bible, and I'm just going to bring it up. Well, actually it's on here. So it describes the New Jerusalem in Revelation 21, but it actually tells you the size of the walls here. They're all the equal length and height, or whatever. They're all, the length and the breadth and the height of it are all equal, so it would make the cube. And he measured the wall thereof 144 cubits, so 144. Now, that's just very interesting considering Guam is on the 144 north, whatever it's called, meridian or whatever. And then Anderson Air Force Base, the only place that gets bombed by the black cube in that movie or whatever, is on 144. So like I said, also 13. And then Yom Kippur, when he got the prophetic vision or whatever, Ezekiel, about the city, was on Yom Kippur. And this year Yom Kippur is on 9/23, the 266th day of the year, when the 266th Pope is coming to America. Also, I guess, well, Anderson Air Force Base is also established in 1944, so another 44. Yom Kippur even adds up to 144 and 44. And Guam, if you just actually look up Guam, doesn't have to mean anything. Like right here, it shows the 34 and the 34 after the 13. And 34 has been super significant with this whole race war and domestic violence stuff they're doing. I've talked about that plenty. But if you just type in just Guam on here, it brings it up to 1330. If you take out the 0, 13.3, just like the day that Pope Francis became the Pope. Like I said, it doesn't have to mean anything, but just found that kind of interesting. It also says Yom Kippur actually starts at sunset on September 22nd, and then it goes until September 23rd. But the Pope is actually coming right in this area. So, and also, I've been talking about 9/9 and the Queen, and the Queen will be the longest reigning British monarch or English monarch ever. That's if you convert that Julian to Gregorian, it's also 922. So, I don't know. Very interesting. I mean, I think there's a good possibility the Queen might actually die as well. And I guess the only reason I say that, or I guess another thing was that I said it was 389 years ago when he got the prophetic vision, or 389 BC. But if you just go back 389 years, it takes you to the year 1626. It even has, if you take out that 1, it even has the 6226 that I talked about in, I think, the first part of the series, in the Queen and whatever. But so King James and the King James Bible was made in 1611, which is 404 years ago, kind of like 44, but also there's 404 verses in Revelation, the end of the Bible. So, and that is this year, 2015. But 1626, so he died in 1625, and he was succeeded by Charles I, who even died in the year 49. But he was coronated on 2/2 of 1626. So, found that interesting. The 33rd day of the year in 1626. And like I said, this doesn't necessarily have to mean anything. I'm just trying to put this puzzle together here. So he died then, or became coronated on that or whatever, right after King James died. But Prince Charles, so he's Charles, and then we got Prince Charles, who is next in line to become the King of England. So if Queen Elizabeth II dies, this guy will become the new king or whatever. So I don't know. And his name is also Charles. So who knows? I mean, he's also 66 years old. So the 2 6s once again. So the aliens also, so that nerdy kid, the conspiracy kid, he finds this video where the aliens come in like a form that humans would recognize. And it's like Ronald Reagan. And I don't know who the other lady is. But then Madonna, and they're like, that's not the real Madonna. That's what, but anyway, they explain how the game works, and they say that if you lose 3 lives, then it's going to cause total destruction of the earth. And I have been talking about in previous videos about Obama being assassinated, the Pope being assassinated, and the Queen even being assassinated or just dying or whatever. And that would be the 3 lives and the total destruction of the earth. It's pretty scary when you really think about it. You know, I know what I'm talking about, and I hope that you can understand it if you have been following me or anything, following my videos or whatever. It's insane. It's insane they would even say that in this movie, and that is the plot of it. Now, whether that happens, I don't know. But it's just pretty interesting they would put that in this movie like that. And the thing is that they tell you in this movie that you're supposed to follow the patterns and crunch the numbers and figure it out. So they literally want you to watch this movie and do what I'm doing right now. They want you to decode it and try to figure out what they're going to do. I know that sounds crazy, but I've seen it in so many other movies. So, I mean, it's just craziness. And so the next battle or whatever, they don't believe it, but Madonna says that the coordinates are 27 and 79, And I mean, that's the Taj Mahal gets destroyed or whatever. And 27 and 78 is the Taj Mahal. Maybe she says 78. I can't remember, but I know she says 27, 70 something. So it's probably 78. I guess that's just another reason why I find the Guam thing so curious, that it's 144 or whatever, and it had all to do with Yom Kippur and the New Jerusalem and whatnot. So then they go to the lab to figure out how to stop this. And they find the black cube or whatever. They have it in here, and they do tests on it. And they find that the only way to stop the black cube is, or the pixels, but they shoot the black cube. It's with supercharged light particles. Now, I mean, if you go back to the Bible, I mean, who is the light? You know what I mean? It's like, let's see if I can pull it up here. Then spake Jesus again unto them, saying, I am the light of the world. He that followeth me shall not walk in the darkness, but shall have the light of life. So very interesting. He's the light of the world, and supercharged light particles are what destroys the black cube. Oh, there's so much about. I think I need to watch a better copy of this movie so you can see some of the things in the background better. But at the towards the end here, that you find out that the little guy or whatever was a cheater. He cheated when they beat Pac-Man in New York. And then Hall & Oates comes on the TV, and they say, you guys are cheaters, so now the world is going to be destroyed or whatever. But Hall & Oates, honestly, they're from Philadelphia. Pope's going to Philadelphia. Even the midget guy or whatever, he gets out of jail in this movie to come help them, because whatever. But basically, they let him out of jail so he can come stop the aliens from taking over, because he's supposedly so good at video games. But then you find out he's cheating here. But one of his stipulations for getting out of jail was to like hook up with Serena Williams and Martha Stewart. And just found it interesting that Serena Williams was born on September 26th. That is the first day that Pope Francis is going to Philadelphia this year. Also born in 81, so she will be 34 years old, which I've talked about with the Civil War and domestic violence. She is 33 right now, so kind of interesting. And he adds Martha Stewart in there, so it was originally just whatever. He talks about Serena Williams, and he says, oh, and Martha Stewart. And then at the very end, he gets them both or whatever. And Martha Stewart's even 73 years old right now, born one day before Obama. So who knows? Just throwing that out there. Just wanted to point it out. So the conspiracy kid or whatever, in the beginning, he like is talking how he loves this girl on the video game. She's actually a video game character. And then she comes to life when the aliens come to destroy the Earth or whatever, after they cheated and all that. And then he tells her how much he loves her, and she kind of like falls in love with him too. But then at the end of the movie, when they save everything, she disappears just like all the other whatever, and he's sad. But Cubert is still there, and Cubert becomes their friend or whatever. And so Cubert's still there. And then randomly, for no reason whatsoever, Cubert turns into this woman. So I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really feel like it's a Bruce Jenner type thing. Like he transforms into a woman out of the blue for no reason. And the reason I say that is because this is the lady in the red dress. And after the Vanity Fair cover shoot or whatever, this was the first picture they showed of Bruce Jenner out in public dressed as a woman or Caitlyn Jenner, right? After his facial surgery and all that. And he's wearing the red dress. So, and then in this movie, he's like in love, and Cubert turns into this lady. I know it sounds ridiculous, but I really feel like that's what they're doing in it. So at the very end, Adam Sandler's character redeems himself by defeating Donkey Kong, and when he defeats Donkey Kong, he saves the world pretty much. So Donkey Kong gets destroyed and the aliens go away. But the gematria here is crazy. So Donkey Kong equals 49, 67, 121. Just like the word Valentine's, 49, 67, 121, and Revelation, 49, 67, 121. So just found that pretty interesting. going to end the video right here. So have a great night.